All right, welcome to the live stream, everybody. Gonna hop right into it here. Gonna take a look at a few different Bitcoin charts, and then this is gonna be a little bit of a shorter stream, but I really want to go over a little bit of a strategy that I've been using with the indicators here. A bit of a combination of my own strategy mixed with, I see Thumpcase in here, mixed with yours a little bit. Been having some good luck with this recently and thought I'd share it with you guys as well as how I kind of use this for a little bit of taking profits as well as just risk management. Just a few different ways I do use kind of the same strategy. So yeah, with that, gonna start by looking at the overall health of Bitcoin. I was talking about being bearish when we had a bit of a downward sloping resistance line, something like that. And we actually did end up getting our 3 touch points. And then I was actually leaning quite heavily bearish when we were testing this trend line again. But I did mention that, there is the chance that we break out now, and especially that we did have at least 3 touch points here. That's kind of what I'm looking for when I'm looking for playing wedges. Just trend lines in general, I like to see them have at least 3 exact touch points on them. So to see that we got above that trend line and then even just kind of tested it here as just flipping from a little bit of resistance to support there. And you can see we kind of got a nice little upward move there. Now, a few things that we got to consider here, you guys. I was mentioning that if we do break that resistance line to the upside, something to watch for is these 2 trend lines that I've had mapped out on my daily chart for quite a while now. And lo and behold, that's exactly where we ended up. Just starting to see a bit of a rejection, just the price struggling a little bit. Not all too uncommon to see something like that, you guys. The fact that over such a large period of time, even though, this line hasn't really been tested in quite a while until we broke it. So we actually came below it. You can see that we started testing it a little bit again, had this little fake out, but you can see that's why I have 2 lines mapped out. Kind of this whole region I'm treating as a bit of a kill zone. Just kind of like basically if we get back into that zone, all of it is basically resistance to me. This whole range here is just potential resistance to watch out for. Doesn't mean it has to reject the price. We could absolutely just blast right through here and then start carrying the trend higher. But as it stands right now, these are just a couple of trend lines that are really on my radar. Just open to the possibility that, hey, we're just tapping away at this old support as resistance. And this may just be getting ready, just coiling up for a much bigger move to the downside, maybe target some of these lower levels, that sort of thing. So just looking at this, just keeping an open mind, being open to some possibilities, because yes, I am in a long position right now. I showed my entry on it before, after I had already taken it. It was capped in hindsight. It's a bit of a new strategy. And also when I'm trading the 1 minute, it's pretty hard to share in real time because by the time I share it, show the picture, explain what I'm looking at, all that kind of thing. I mean, a minute or 2 may have passed, and at that point, the entry might not even be worth taking anymore at that point. So it's just a little riskier when looking at those smaller time frame scalps like that. So yeah, as I was saying, I am in a bit of a long based on a strategy I've been using a little bit. But just open to the idea that, I'm not afraid to play the downside at this point either. Actually, this morning, full disclosure, I did lose out on a short this morning. Yesterday, I was playing the short side very well. This morning, I kind of held on to that bias a little bit too long. I lost out on a bit of a short position. That's totally fine. Made it back with this long position that I ended up getting into. I was actually very close to revenge shorting. And obviously we know we shouldn't do that, but sometimes I'm human just like everybody. My emotions can get the best of me sometimes. I was very close to revenge shorting until I ended up getting a bit of a bullish signal, which led me to take my long. So this is kind of what I'm looking at on the daily. Actually, I want to bring up the indicator on the daily as well. You can see that another thing, obviously, I like pointing out which way the W's are trending. It is nice to see now that we have on the daily, we have the tops trending to the upside with these reversal warnings. That's not necessarily a bullish signal, but it is more of a warning. Just that, back here, we did have the W's switch to the downside for the first time since way back here in October of last year. That was the last time we set a lower W, or I guess, sorry, back here. That would have been December of last year when we went for a lower W here. That was the last time that we had that, so I was very cautious, just leaning even a little bit bearish, the fact that we had a lower W on the daily. But already we're just getting a warning that, hey, you know, it might not actually be trending to the downside. So in this case, I would actually be very interested to see if, hey, we have this W here, if we end up getting a higher low W on the daily, something like that. That might actually be a very nice bullish signal in that case. But you guys know by now, I'm not a swing trader, not very often anyways. I usually end up looking for scalps, and I'm quick to take profits on my scalps, or at least partial position, and then hoping the rest of my position turns into a home run. I'm not entering on a 1 minute automatically hoping for a home run. But obviously if it happens, I still want to have some skin in the game. So I'm usually very close to close, very quick to close a quarter to half of my position, and then kind of letting the rest run. And that's actually kind of what happened today. So yeah, this is kind of what I'm looking at on the daily. The 4 hour, we'll kind of check what's going on here a little bit. We are coming up. We did actually come up to this horizontal resistance that we set back here. Even had some candle bodies closing above it. It's messy, but we did technically break this. So just, again, a warning sign that, hey, maybe we are going to trade to the upside. But again, guys, we have so much resistance up ahead. I actually wanted to bring the supply and demand boxes back up. And we can see that even the indicator itself is going to map out a lot of resistance up ahead. But, you know, actually looking at this, I haven't even looked at the supply demand on the 4 hour for a little bit. So we are starting to get some of these green support boxes below us, demand zones. So that is great to see. Because as I was talking about in the past, you guys, I think my previous video, I had mentioned that as far as the macro structure goes, I mean, we were setting high, higher high. This would be our confirmed high or low. Even though it was a bit of a fake out, we did technically get higher than this level here. So this would have been our confirmed high or low. And in that case, if I just run that straight across, that's basically exactly where we ended up finding support. So support is support until it's broken. Yes, it looks weak. The fact that, you know, we barely set a higher high and we came back down and started consolidating there a little bit. Flipping old support into new resistance, all that sort of thing. So there is some warning signs there. But the fact is, like I said, guys, we did still have this support down here. So as far as that goes, and not only that, where that support line also came from, like, yes, it's beautiful that this was just a wonderful pivot point that we flew to the upside again. But also just seeing where that kind of comes from, we have this resistance back here. Flipping into support now as we come back and test it from the top side. So that's great to see, because as far as a macro trend goes, I mean, that was a very important level of resistance. We had low, lower low. This would be our lower high. Lower low again. This was our lower high, and we actually broke that and flipped it into support. So that is nice to see that level is still holding as support so far. But like I said, just a few things to be a little bit cautious about as we approach this support resistance flip, basically. Just going to remove some drawings here. I want to actually flip over to my 1 hour chart. There was a little bit of a flip here as well. This morning. So we obviously had this nice pump. I'm actually going to turn off that supply and demand once again, just to keep my chart nice and clean here. And I'm going to draw my own box. So I know I've mentioned in the past that when we kind of form a range low, what I like to do, rather than just setting a line kind of like this, when we came down after this nice pump up, came down, rather than just setting a line like this, I personally like to use a box, kind of the whole wick of where we bottomed out. And then also just kind of going back to where this would line up with. You can see that we had this old resistance, quite strong resistance for one back here. We were testing it here, and when we broke up, we got that very nice pump. Then we come back down and we're starting to test that box again. The only thing that really happened on the 1 hour is we got these little bit of wicks down below, but no candle bodies closing below that or anything. So, you know, this was just looking like a bit of a fake out, if anything, and that we may end up, in fact, pumping to the upside. So with that in mind, what I did is, you guys know, as the degen that I am, I hop over to the 1 minute chart. And that's where this strategy kind of comes in play. So my long position that's currently running is from this, that has moved for some reason. I accidentally moved it. It was 521. It was a little higher. So what I was looking at here, and so this is where things get interesting. And I know Thumpcase has mentioned this in the chat many times, that he has a whole bunch of these, the trends for what used to be the MDX ALGO 3. Now it's the MDX Trendmaster Advanced Trend Indicator. And basically what I have currently is I have my trends set. I have these set, they're all on EMAs. And I'm on the 1 minute chart, and I have every trend from 1 minute to 1 hour. So just a lot of different trend lines here. Yes, it can look a little bit overwhelming, a little bit scary, a little bit messy. But basically what I'm looking for is, you guys know I love these W's, hence why it is one of the only signals that I actually have on my charts. I love to see these signals as we are testing one of the trends. So doesn't necessarily matter which trend it is, but then I'm also looking at which direction that the W's are trending. So a bullish point that I had here, basically everything started flipping green, right? I mean, we got all these crosses, we had all of these EMAs earlier were red. And when they all started to flip green, that's where I start looking for a reversal warning that is basically bang on one of these trends, preferably a higher low W coming into play. And that's where you can see that I have this here. So basically, I mean, really, we did have this lower setting W here. So then we ended up, you can see that the top W's were trending to the upside. We got a higher high, higher high, higher high, higher high. And that ended up leading us to a bullish cross of all these moving averages here. And from there, that's when I start looking for the higher low W, basically. So I never actually entered my position off this signal here yet. And my reasoning for that was my stop loss still would have been fairly loose, because when I'm looking at this strategy and which way the W's are trending and using this type of a signal, basically an invalidation point for me with that strategy would be the previous W. So that was all the way back here. So that's just a bit of as far as a 1 minute scalp goes, I just wasn't really comfortable with how big of a stop that would have been, because I'm using ridiculously high leverage, as every proper degen does. So what I waited for was the next higher W. And you can see that these got very tight. Again, we were kind of testing on top of these bullish trends here, these EMA trends, and we got this higher W forming again, and that's where I actually ended up taking my position, because at that point my stop loss can be so tight. I had it just below here, basically below this W a little bit, with a little bit of wiggle room, and it was just straight up from there, basically. So I've been taking profits along the way. That's what caused me to take my position. As far as risk management goes, again, just kind of looking at the invalidation point, how loose is my stop loss going to be? Yeah, I could have entered on this signal right here as well. I would have probably used less leverage in that case. But yeah, just as far as risk management goes, that's just a nice, easy way as far as this strategy goes for picking a stop loss like that. So that's kind of how I choose my entries and my stop losses, based on that position. From there, like I said, I have just been taking profits along the way. Basically, when I hit other W's, like up here, we obviously had a beautiful pump. Whenever I shared that screenshot with you guys in the Bitcoin chat, I was starting to close. I closed half of my position at that point, let the rest run. And with the rest of my position, I didn't quite bump my stop loss up to break even, but I kept it just below the previous W, basically. So at this point, I never actually updated my stop loss until we got this signal here. And at that point, I was comfortable to just basically update it to below where we had our previous reversal warning. Next, we end up getting another higher low W. I was able to update my stop loss. Well, basically the same level, right? Because we have basically a double bottom here. Next W, I can update the stop loss a little higher. Next W, update the stop loss a little higher. And you can see that's why I have this yellow horizontal line right now. Basically, if we drop that level, I'm going to be stopped out of the rest of my position. That's fine. You know, I only have about a quarter of my position running as it is right now. As I mentioned, I was taking profits along the way. Another way I chose to take some profits is basically looking for the trend of W's to break, right? So here was a good example of where we had a W, a very clear lower high W. I ended up closing that third quarter of my position at this level because that was just a warning. It wasn't necessarily a sell signal or a short signal rather, because the bottom W's are not lining up. They're still trending to the upside. Tops are trending to the downside. A little bit of mixed signals. If I'm unsure of anything, obviously I want to start taking a little bit of profits, right? So, or taking more profits rather. But yeah, then I have my last quarter of my position running. If we end up setting a higher low W once again, then I can kind of bump up my stop loss to just below the yellow line here. Again, totally depends what's going to happen here, right? We want to see if we get some kind of a higher low or a higher low W in that case. May even be a nice entry for a new scalp long for anyone not in a position. Obviously, these trends can't just play out forever. Every trend is going to break. But if you just look at this, I mean, look at every time we had a higher low W, it was a perfect entry. We never did get below those reversal warnings after they were set, as long as it's in a trending market. And I know that's why I mention in pretty much all my live streams that this indicator is so powerful in a trending market. When you can basically just keep playing the same trade. I mean, even something like this, like a beautiful entry here, right when that candle closes, because obviously the W isn't valid until the candle closes. But that would have been another beautiful entry because we had a higher W here, super tight stop loss, basically just a little bit of wiggle room below this pivot point here. Super nice entry there. So yeah, that's basically what I really love about these indicators, is that when you use them in such a way that you have a strategy like this, I mean, even if you're going to lose on a position, you can really just tighten up those stops. You can really just have... I mean, when you're waiting for this type of a position for the W's to line up very closely, you can have such a tight stop loss, and I think that's such a powerful thing. I know I heard Kieran talking about it earlier, that the tighter your stop loss is, the more margin you're able to throw on a position, because obviously the tighter the stop, the smaller your loss is going to be. So you can just kind of bump up your position size a little bit. And when you get these super tight entries like that, I mean, it's a beautiful scalping strategy in my opinion. And again, just an easy way to bump up my stop loss if we end up breaking this trend of higher W's. I gotta switch this back to down here so I don't forget that we don't have a higher W here yet. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Do you guys have any questions about that? I'm hoping I'm being as clear as I can be here. I did add another thing that I did add to my strategy, not even this strategy necessarily, but another indicator that I've added to my scalping quiver, I guess, if you want to call it that, is the MDX Trendmaster auto charting tools. That shows us our daily opens, our monthly opens, weekly opens, all that sort of stuff, as well as these little white dashes are where it thinks that the market has pivoted. So, and I kind of look at these the same way as I do with the W's, right? I mean, here, perfect example is that, hey, we have a pivot here, we have a bearish pivot, and then so basically we see that these are also trending to the upside. Same with down here, we have a bullish one down here, our next one much higher, so we have a higher low pivot point coming in. So just kind of a way that I use these indicators to help me spot which direction the market is trending. and which way I should be looking for scalps in the market. So yeah, hopefully that kind of makes sense, you guys. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions about that. I kind of went over everything I want to say about Bitcoin right now as a whole, the midterm, the long term. Like I said, it's kind of up in the air. There's some reasons why we should maybe be a little bit cautious. Did I delete those trend lines? Yeah, I did. But either way, you guys know why I'm playing cautiously, and honestly why I kind of favor the scalping side of things is just because on the midterm, and especially the long-term trend right now, I am just a little bit uncertain because, yes, we have some nice structure forming. We're finding support at an important macro support level, but we have to consider the fact that we did break some very serious structure, and to see that support flip to resistance wouldn't be all too uncommon. So just playing cautiously right now. Basically, my strategy moving forward is play in the direction of the trending W's and which way my EMAs are trending. So like I said, I'm on the 1 minute chart, but I'm kind of seeing all the trends, like 1 minute trend, 3 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute, 30 minute, hour long. I'm seeing all those trends. So it's kind of one of my favorite things about this indicator is just having a general view of the longer time frames, even though I'm being a total degen and playing the 1 minute. A lot of people would see that as degen behavior. But as long as you have proper rules in place, proper strategies, I mean, trade whatever works for you, right? Not everybody wants to scalp the 1 minute by all means. I know trading small time frames on high leverage is very risky. I want to make that very clear that it can lead to obviously over trading, over leverage, revenge trading, all those things that as degens, well, as traders we shouldn't do, but as degens we love to do. So again, when I'm playing the 1 minute chart, like I said earlier, I'm not looking for a home run trade. I'm starting to take profits quickly, but hey, if it can turn into a home run, by all means, I will take it with a quarter or half of my position or whatever I have remaining. So that's kind of how I look at scalping anyways. You get PTSD on the 1 minute if you do it too long. That's totally fair. I'm human like everyone else. Like I said, I've definitely done some revenge trading in the past by getting on these shorter time frames, and I've learned valuable lessons from doing that. So I know I heard Kieran talking about it earlier too. Maybe if you lose a trade or if you lose 2 or 3 trades in a row, maybe it's time to consider just taking a little break. Things just aren't lining up the way you need. You just need a mind reset. Maybe downsize your position sizes. And actually, that's something I want to talk to you about with risk management, you guys, is as far as downsizing positions, don't think that the only time to do that is if you're on a losing streak. I would actually, I know I've mentioned this to friends in the past, that if you've been trading very good, it might be time to downsize your positions, because just that's how we are naturally. That if we start, let's say I win 10 really good trades in a row, I can almost guarantee there's a big loss waiting for me, because I'm going to get cocky. I'm going to go oversize on my position. I'm going to enter when I'm a little bit premature on some of my signals, stuff like that. You can just get really cocky and you can think that you're going to outsmart the markets and you can play every single move type of thing. And that's not necessarily the case. So just if you are having a really good run of trades, just toss around the idea of, are these actually good setups that I'm still taking, or am I just getting cocky and getting careless, and am I about to make a really big mistake very soon? So just a few things to consider there as well, you guys. Yeah, what can we say that we got going on here? Never quite hit a double top here. Actually, what I like to do, like I said, I like looking for boxes. So let's just say we're looking for resistance right now. I would say, okay, well, here we had a nice pivot point. That's where we have our local top, basically. And that's where I would basically look to form a resistance box, something like this. And in that case, that's where I start to, if I want to play a double top or something like that, that's where, you know, when we start trading into this box, that's where I'd be looking for other confluences, things like bearish divergences, oversold or overbought conditions in this case, if we're trading into resistance and that sort of thing. But as it stands right now, the position I'm in and the positions I've been taking lately have very much been revolving around which way the W's are trending, and just more recently kind of playing with multiple advanced trends from the MDX indicators here. So yeah, the last few times that I've had basically this exact setup where we kind of got our bullish break, I'm feeling that, hey, maybe we're going to have some kind of a pullback, but then we just end up getting those higher trending W's. And honestly, right here, like I said, I was very tempted to start revenge shorting just because we were starting to tap away or just forming a bit of resistance here. I thought, hey, maybe we come back down and test some of these lower levels soon before carrying to the upside. But this was just one of those situations. Like I mentioned, you guys, the stop loss was so incredibly tight that I just didn't care if I got stopped out, because the potential gains, which did work out in my favor, compared to the loss on that type of a position, there's no question about it. I'll take that trade every single time. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. What else can we go over here a little bit? Another thing I like to look for is also Fibonacci levels. That is also some strong confluence that I like to take into consideration. So just out of curiosity, let's see where we're kind of at for a rejection level. Obviously, we damn near got the full retrace. And when I'm talking retrace, I mean a retrace back up. So I'm looking for a rejection point because I'm in a long, so I'm trying to find out where resistance might be. So I'm taking my Fibonacci from the top here to the bottom here of this current range. And you guys know I love that Fibonacci pocket as well. The 786 to the 886 Fibonacci pocket, I find it respected in crypto so often. The fact that we did already get and close some candles above the 886, I don't necessarily think this move is done yet. I think that that's just a warning. We might actually continue to the upside. Either way, I'm comfortable holding the rest of my position open. But had I not just recently taken some profits when I got this lower W here, I would definitely be looking to take some profits right now just because we are trading into that Fibonacci pocket. But gonna have to see what happens there. So far, I mean, all these trends from the 1 minute EMA trend, and they're all the 21. They're all set to 21 EMA, just the different time frames, if you're wondering about my settings. So every one of these EMAs from 1 minute to an hour are all bullish right now. So yeah, you know, if we get some kind of a pullback here, and let's say at that point this trend is coming up like that, we see a touch point, we get a W along that, it is a higher low W type of a setup, then you know that might be another beautiful scalp entry, because as I said, the trend is your friend until the end. And although these trends don't carry on forever, you can see how many entries is that since we got this. I mean, I am going to count this one. Like I said, it was higher risk and I never took it, but we could consider that because obviously the top W's were trending up and we got this higher low. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 perfect entries so far, that the price never came below them at all. So just to see the direction of them trending, man, that's just such a powerful signal in a trending market like this. When the market gets a little bit choppy, yes, obviously, just like any indicator, it can start to get a little dicey. But quite often, even if it is going to be a ranging market and you're not going to get these nice moves and this trend carrying to the upside, you'll quite often just start to get some kind of warnings, right? And I mean, there's W's right on it. That stands for warning, obviously. Reversal warnings. So quite often, even if, let's say, this signal wouldn't have held and we would have done something like this, there's an excellent chance that we would have seen some kind of a pivot signal come into play. And if not, like I said, all risk management, guys. If you have a tight stop loss, something like this, I mean, obviously it is what it is, right? Hopefully everything I've gone over so far kind of makes sense as far as what I'm looking for with this strategy as far as entries goes, and as well as how I can kind of use it for a little bit of risk management. Stop losses, take profits. Like I said, there's so many different ways that I use this indicator, and I use almost none of the features. I use only a couple. I use the trends. Usually I'll actually have the moving average cloud up as well. I will have the reversal warnings up. I only have them up on one of my ALGO 3s here because I don't need them on any other ones. But yeah, I keep my charts fairly clean, other than right now, obviously, it looks a little bit cluttered because I have these arrows everywhere and I have a lot of EMAs here. But as far as the actual signals go with the candles, I really don't like to have too many different signals because I find it's too easy to overanalyze things and start confusing yourself a little bit. How am I liking any of the added Trendmaster indicators? The only one I've really been using so far, I've seen some people post some pictures of some of them and they look like they've been beautiful, especially, I think it was the core trend I was playing with on one of my streams, on the 4-hour chart, and it looked very nice. 4-hour plus, I found the core trend looks absolutely beautiful. I have not played around with them too much. Like I said, I do have this auto charting tools one up. That's these white dashes here, as well as those key open levels and stuff like that. That's mainly what I've been using as far as adding that into my arsenal of, I guess, indicators for my strategies, kind of a thing. I do love having these pivot points here, just kind of as a confirmation that, you know, if we do end up coming back down here, I might start getting bearish if we're pulling back here. But just remember, we do have this, we have the higher W matching up with that pivot point on the auto charting tool there. So just a little bit of confluence, just another signal to kind of help you keep a level head. Like right now, if I was looking for a short, I would absolutely be considering the fact that, hey, we do have this potential pivot point here. You know, you could have a nice tight stop loss if you did want to play this. I personally don't want to bet against the bulls right now, and I more use these as confluence, and I'm more interested to see with the direction of the W's trending. And also, that being said, guys, we have this pivot, but it is a higher bearish pivot, right? That's a higher high. So there's still, even though that's a bearish pivot, it is still trending to the upside. So just a little bit riskier to take that short position because it may not have much follow through. Absolutely, it could be the reversal, and you know what? In that case, I'll get stopped out of the rest of my position. Totally fine. Find the next one in that case. But yeah, that's kind of how I use that. Yeah, exactly. The pivot points, so simple. But again, just a nice little added bit of confluence. I still don't want to take a short, even a head short right now, just because these are trending to the upside. And again, just having all these EMA averages below us on the scalping timeframes like this, I'm just going to hang on to the rest of my long for now and just see what happens, basically. Yeah, how's everyone else liking all the additional indicators? And that goes for both sides of things. You guys from Trendmaster, who are now us MDX legends, you guys liking the extra indicators you got, as far as the other way, for those of us who have been in MDX's group for quite a while, you guys liking the Trendmaster indicators as well? Just two wonderful teams coming together, you guys. Such a wonderful community to be a part of. I'm super excited to be here with you guys every week like this, and just obviously every day in the chat. Such very knowledgeable people in this group, and everyone's super friendly. Nobody's getting attacked, verbally abused, anything like that. Just a super supportive community with amazing indicators and an amazing team behind everything. So yeah, zero complaints here. I think it's just a wonderful thing to be a part of. I cannot imagine being a day trader and not being a part of this group anymore. I just can't even imagine it at this point. And I've told some of my friends that too, some real life friends who aren't in this group yet, who I'm sure will be before too long. I've said that to them. I've been like, I honestly can't imagine, like, even though I understand basic market structure and trend lines and all that kind of stuff now, I just, these indicators have come so far in the last year. I've been using them for about a year now, and I just can't really picture my charts without them anymore. And like I said, I truly do believe that these indicators are probably less than half the value of what you get signing up for this and becoming a part of the community. Like I tell everybody that, and actually that goes for people who are going to be watching this on my YouTube channel here later. For those of you new to my streams, I do have my own YouTube channel as well, StuTube Trading, all one word. I do post my streams here as soon as possible after I get them uploaded, and as well my own shorter analysis videos and stuff like that as well. For those of you who are watching this on my YouTube channel later, if this is something that interests you, if you like these indicators, the strategies I point out, that sort of thing, I do have a 15% discount referral link in the comments down below on my video once it's uploaded. And if you do choose to get involved, please do that. Get involved with the Discord community. Introduce yourself and just watch at the immense knowledge that is in the group. Like I said, I think more than half the value is actually getting involved with the community. There's 1 to 2 live streams daily at this point, put on by myself and others. Just a wonderful community to be a part of. Love this community 100%. Yeah, see, everyone in my stream here in the Discord is agreeing. Just a wonderful group to be a part of. You like the retail stablecoin indicator? It lines up pretty well with the price action. That's something I'm going to have to check out there, Thump. I'm not going to do it this stream just because I actually have to get going fairly soon here. Like I said, I got to cut this one a little bit short. I got something I got to do tonight. But I'm going to have to check out, like I said, I haven't dug into too many of the newer indicators, the Trendmaster ones. And just to show you guys, these are all the indicators basically, except for this bottom one. That's a different one. But yeah, just a whole slew of wonderful indicators put together and combined by these two teams, MDX and the Trendmaster communities. So a ton of very useful indicators there. Obviously find out what works for you, but just a slew of information here. I still got to play around with more of those indicators because I believe Stock Poker, I saw you mention at one point that you're like a kid at Christmas just unboxing all these indicators. I still feel that way. I've just been super busy. Our summer is coming to an end. I'm going to be a lot more active at my desk in my office here once the white stuff starts flying in the sky. I assume it's only a month or two away until we'll be seeing snow here. So just kind of licking the plate clean on summer here. But yeah, a lot of interesting stuff going on here, you guys. Yeah, does anyone have any last minute questions, concerns, anything you want me to look at specifically or explain better? Same here, will snow next month already for you. Yeah, that sounds about like us here too. I know it wasn't last year. I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago. I know most of you guys know, but I'm big into kiteboarding, kite surfing. I know I was talking about that last video a little bit. There was a couple years ago where I was riding on the snow in October in about a foot or two of snow. And then in November, I was back on the water and it was 20 degrees Celsius out. I was back riding on the water, and then a couple weeks later back on the snow. Like our weather gets a little, well, it gets more volatile than crypto when the seasons are changing. So as soon as winter hits, I'm sure I'll be a little more active in here, making more videos, sharing more things, that kind of stuff. Yeah, we had that. We had a big snow day a couple years ago too, and literally nobody could get to work. Nobody could drive to the store. Nothing. I remember walking over to a friend's house because he lives, within a 10-minute walk or so. But nobody could really leave the house because the streets, the snow was, well, it was above my knees. I'd say we had 3 feet of snow just in the middle of the road, and that was like the first snowfall of the year. So sometimes we just get blindsided by that. But it's always fun. I like the snow. I don't like the cold, but I love playing in the snow. I'll never outgrow some things, I guess. But other than that, guys, I think I'm going to wrap up the stream. I will still be here for a bit while I start uploading stuff. So if you guys are here with me in the Discord, by all means, you can stick around for a little bit here and we can chat. It'll be a little more laid back here, whatever, go over anything that you want. But for anybody watching this on my YouTube channel a little bit later, we're going to wrap things up here. So if you are watching this stream a little bit later on my YouTube channel here and you did appreciate this insight and this video, please do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't. If you want access to these beautiful indicators as well as being part of these live streams and other coaching events put on by myself and others in MDX Crypto's VIP Discord, like I mentioned earlier, there is a 15% discount referral link down below to join. And I will be doing my trading on the MEXC Crypto Exchange, where they're currently offering my followers up to $20,000 in trading bonuses. There's no KYC, there's access to insane amounts of leverage for degens such as myself, not financial advice obviously, and plenty of trading pairs there, you guys. You'll find my referral link down below for that as well, or on my Twitter. You can also check it there. And yeah, I believe they are giving me this welcoming event for, I think, only another week or so. You also get discount trading fees and that sort of thing. I believe it's 10% discount for life when you sign up using my link. So something to consider there if you are looking for another no KYC exchange. As this goes right now, still holding on to my long. We still don't have a higher low W, so I'm not updating my stop loss at all. Hopefully that strategy and, well, those strategies I mentioned all make sense to you guys. If not, by all means, shoot me a message in the Discord and I can clarify or touch on anything that you guys need. With that, guys, I wish you all the best in the game of trading here. May the crypto gods shine down with profits on us. And with that, I'm out. Stay safe, my friends. Peace.